Hello, my name is Alejandro Gonzalez, and this is going to be Lab 4-3. So today we're going to be working with Tableau and Power BI, and we will be doing some data visualization. So today we're going to start. So right now I have Tableau open, and so we are going to get our information from a server. To be more specific, our Microsoft SQL server. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and use the same server that we've been using. So ESSQL1 dot Walton dot uark.edu. And then for our database, it's gonna be what we've been using. So it's gonna be the WCOB underscore EILLARDS. Okay. And then we are just going to go ahead and click sign in. Okay, perfect. So we have this pulled up. So as you can see on the left side, we have our tables. And so we have this connection set up and we're gonna tell Tableau what we want to pull in. So what we wanna go ahead and do is press this new custom SQL. We're gonna add our own. So we're gonna press that. Just wait for it to load. Okay, just give it a sec. Okay, so it looks like I had double click it. That's why I wasn't pulling up. But we're gonna go ahead and write the code. So it's gonna be select state, comma, average, tran, amount, as average, from transact. Okay, perfect. So we have the SQL code written out. So basically it's going to select state, and then it's going to, oh, looks like I forgot a key right here. It's gonna do the average for the train amount, and it's also gonna pull from the transact table, and it's gonna do an inner join with the store table. And then while we're doing that, the transact.store column is going to be the store.store, and then we're gonna group it by state. So after that, we can go ahead and press OK. Boom. Okay, so now that we have our custom SQL query put in, we can go ahead and move on to the next step. So now we can see that we're going to be using this state and this average, which is what we did in the code. So this average has this symbol right here, and then the state has its own. So what we want to go ahead and do is change this state from what it's using, and then we want to change it to geographic role, and we want it to be state slash province. So that way it knows that what we're doing is um, using the state. All right, and so then it changes. You see the symbol changes here, and then we want to go ahead and go to the worksheet. So we're gonna go ahead and click that. Just gotta give it a sec. Okay, there you go. So we're here, and then now we can see that we have the sheet open and then these folders. So we're going to go ahead and double click this state. So right here, it's executing the query. And it should open up. And then we can see here what states have an active Dillards. So it's pretty interesting to see. And then we were able to do that because we changed the state to a state/province. So now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and get more information about the map. So we're just going to press this average right here, double click. So it's executing the query. And so now we can see the average of how many stores there are in each of the states that have a Dillards. And to see a little bit better with the visualization, we're going to go ahead and click on this one right here. And so by doing so, now we can see the density of how many. So as you can see, the darker color means that there are more Dillards. And then the lighter the color means that there are less Dillards. So now that we have that, we've finished this process, and now we're going to start with the next process. To do that, we're going to go to data, new data source. We're going to go again to here, Microsoft SQL Server. So we already have this loaded in, so we are good to go. We're going to press sign in. Okay, perfect. And so now what we want to do, instead of using the new custom SQL, we want to go ahead and just pull the tables. So where it says drag tables here, we're going to pull the transact table first. Okay, so we have that. And then the store as well. So we want to make sure that it joins. Okay, perfect. And now we are ready to do some more data visualization. Okay, so now, similar as before, we want to go ahead and change this state, just because it's viewing it as something different. We want it as geographic role, and then state/province. Okay, so that's good to go. And then, so when we're looking at how does our relationship differ from joins, this is all good. We want the store to equal the store as well. However, we do want for the referential, we want all records to match. Okay, perfect. And then now we're going to go back to sheet one. We're going to go ahead and remove this, put this, and then remove. Okay, great. And so now that we remove that, we're back to what we originally started with. And then we're going to go ahead and work with the next set of data. Okay, so there are a couple things we need to go back to our data source and just to check it. So here, while we have this equal sign, we need a little bit more information and we need to join them. So we're going to click this transact, and then what we're going to do is we're going to move this store over to right here. So now we can see that they are actually joined. I'm going to update automatically. Just wait for that to load. Okay, great. And then the only thing we want to change here is we want to go ahead and make sure that state is where it's supposed to be. Okay, state right here. Geographic role, state/province. Okay, and then now we are good to actually go back to the sheet one. And oh, it's updating automatically, so it should be good. And then now we can go back to our sheet one and actually start working. So now that we have this, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and get rid of the SQL server that we had pulled in earlier. So we're gonna right click, and then we're just gonna go ahead and close it. So we are okay with closing it. Okay, great. So now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and pull in the state. So this is going to be how we used to have it before with all the states where we had Dillards. And then now we want to do the tran amount. Just wait for that to load. Okay, and then now we can see the tran amount, but however, this is incorrect because we want the average, not the sum. So we're gonna go ahead and change that. So to change it to average, we're gonna go ahead and click right here on this little down arrow, where it says measure. We're gonna click average, and it's gonna take a little bit just so it can load. Okay, so now we can see here that now it's the average transaction amount. And then we're going to go ahead and change it to this other map that we were using earlier. So as we can see, the states that are darker have the most amount of Dillards. And so we're going to go to Arkansas, which is the most, it's the headquarters. So we're going to double click on it. And then now what we want to do is press on here, and then we want to do keep only. Okay, great. So now that we did the click only, now we're going to double click city, just so that way we can go ahead and get it in there. So we're going to click from the transact, double click, wait for that to load in. Okay, so we can see the cities, so the average states, but it is a little bit harder because Tableau doesn't recognize city lines. We're going to go ahead and change this to a horizontal bar. This is perfect because now we can see and visualize the data a little bit better. And so you can see, for example, like which stores have the most average transaction amounts. And so for us, it looks like it's Momwell Online. So now we can move on to the next step. So now we want to dig a little bit deeper into the information that we have. Yes, we do have the Momwell Online, but we want more information. So we're going to go ahead and go back to the data source. And we're going to add a little bit more information. So we want to add the skew, for example, and that's what we want. Let's see if that works. But what we really want is put it in, get rid of this. What we want is the skew. There we go. This is what we want. We want the skew, and then we want the department as well. Perfect. That's what we want. We're gonna click update now. Just wait for that to load. Okay, so let me just double check and make sure. There's only one table. Okay. Mhm. Let's try update automatically one more time. Okay, so basically just updated. And so what I did was I made sure that the edit union right here, that we just had this transact table back in there. Okay, and then we can go back to our sheet. And then we're gonna go to this Momwell online. And then we want to keep only. So we want to make sure that this is the only information that we are focusing on. And then we are going to dig a little bit deeper into that as well. So now that we have that, we want to go ahead and um, drill a little bit deeper. So what we're going to do is on this transact side with the transact table, we're going to pull one of these. And so we are going to pull the department decade description. So this one right here, and then we want to combine it with the department century description. So what this is going to do is it's going to create a hierarchy. And so we just wanted to confirm. So yes, department century description and then department decade description. So we're going to press OK. Boom. So we have that. And then we want to go ahead and put that into where it says rows. And just wait for it to load. Great. So we have the state, city, department center. And so now we can see a little bit more depending on like what type of department. And so we can also click this plus sign right here and it actually will break it down into even more information. So we have that. And so with that, that completes that part. And then we can move on to the um, part where we were going to address and refine the results. So now we will be transitioning into Power BI. So we're going to go ahead and minimize this. I'm going to go to the Windows. And then we want to go to, I believe it's Microsoft. Microsoft Power BI Desktop, Power BI Desktop. So this is going to be a different data visualization system. And so we're going to be doing some similar actions, but we'll be comparing both of them just to see their different capabilities. Okay, so we are back. So we just had to do some authentication, but now we can go ahead and load our data in. So we're going to press get data. And we want to import data from the SQL server. We're going to select the SQL Server database and then connect. Perfect. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and just like how we did earlier in the lab with the Tableau, we're going to go ahead and load in the server. So ESSQL1 n.uark.edu. And for our database, WCOB underscore DILLARDS. And we're just gonna press OK. And then just keep everything the same and connect. Just click OK. And we're just gonna wait for it to load. Okay, and then now here we have our tables and we can start loading the data that we want to. So we're actually gonna go back and fix what we did. So we did not press the direct query. And so what that's gonna do is if we don't do that, it's gonna make it a little more difficult for the data to load in, and we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer. So we're gonna reinsert the server. So ESSQ1.walton.uark.edu and then WCOB underscore deliverance. And then just make sure to, for the data connectivity mode, click the direct query. And this is important because when you're working in the field and you are working with a lot of data and lots of rows, lots of columns, this can sometimes slow down your computer. So we just want to go ahead and make sure that we are doing it in the most efficient way possible. So we're going to press OK, and then we are going to connect. So it seems here that after the Walton, I forgot a period. Try this one more time. Okay, perfect. So now what we want to do is we have this navigator, and so we want to select the tables that we will be loading into um, the information data set. So we're going to go ahead and click department, SKU, store, and transact. So these are going to be the same ones that we were working with in Tableau. We're just doing it in a different way just so we can see um, how each system works. So after that, we want to go ahead and click load. And here it's creating the connection. Well, that loaded in pretty well. Okay, awesome. So now we have everything loaded in and we can start playing around with what we have in the tables. So now with the fields, we have everything loaded in, and then we're going to go ahead and start dealing with the data visualization. So we have department, SKU, the store, and then transact. So what we want to do is we want to expand the store, and then we want to go ahead and click state. So as you can see here on the left-hand side, we have kind of like how we had in Tableau. Um, we have all of the states where there's Dillards. And then now we want to drill a little bit deeper. And so we're going to open this transact table, and then we will be selecting the tran amount. And that will also load onto the map. You just have to let it load for a little bit sometimes. Yes, so now you can see that the sum of the transaction amounts are bigger in certain states, and that's why they have a bigger circle. However, we do not want the sum of the transaction amounts. We want the average. We're going to click right here, and then we are going to select average. And then now we wait, and our map will update accordingly as well. Okay, perfect. And so now we can see that, like for example, Arkansas, that is one of the states with the higher average of transaction amounts. So now what it's asking us to do is we're going to go ahead and click. So we are selecting this, and then we're just going to right click, and then we're going to copy the visual, and then here, Control V, and then we just want to go ahead and move this one over here. And so we will be messing with this one. And so next we're going to go to the visualizations, and we're going to press the clustered bar chart. So now we're going to see the average of the transaction amount by state, similar to kind of how we had it in Tableau. And then now on the state field, we want to go ahead and only have Arkansas. So select all, unselect all. Um, and there we go. And so now we have only Arkansas, the average of the transaction amount. Now what we're going to do is, now that we have the state, we want to drill a little bit deeper. And so we're going to drill into these cities as well. So this transact, we can go ahead and close, and then we're going to select city right here. So we see that we have this average of trade amount, and so we can see by the different cities, so the ones that have a longer bar chart are the ones that have the most average transaction amounts. And so now what we want to do is we want to move this a little bit over, copy, copy visual, and then we're going to Control V. And so we're going to make a copy because this is the information that we will be working with a little bit more. So we're going to close this, see if we can make this a little bit smaller if it lets me. Hmm. Okay, it let me here. Perfect. So we're just going to leave this over here. We're going to make this one a little bit bigger just so we can focus more on this. And then what we want to do is for the city, we want only Maumelle, just how like we were doing earlier in Tableau. We're just going to click Maumelle online, close. Perfect. So now we can see the impact of Maumelle online, just the city. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to create that same hierarchy that we had done before. So now for the last step in this, we are going to go ahead and make that hierarchy like we said we would. So we're going to go to department, and then we are going to drag and drop department decade description on top of department century. So we're going to go ahead and click this and put this on top. We have this selected department decade, and we're going to drop it on the, okay, that did not work. Okay, so I did look at a way to fix this. So when I drag, it wasn't letting me. However, when I looked it up, it's because I think it's a live connection, so it won't let you. So I figured out a way around this. So we are trying to get, we're trying to drag the department decade underscore description on top of department century. So what we want to do is we want to create this department century, and we want to create the hierarchy. So that's gonna have that. So we have this hierarchy, department. So it's got the department in here, and then we want to add this to this hierarchy. All right, and so now in this hierarchy, we do have the century description and then the decade, and then we can go ahead and click that. And then we just wait for it to load on Power BI. And then we can start messing with it. So drill down, it's loading. Yep, and then here we go. So now we can see that it went ahead and drilled it according to the hierarchy. We can go up. So state. Okay, and then we can go back up, and then we can expand all down level 1. And there we go. And so just to recap, just the way we drill down. So we start here at this average of the trend amount by state and city. We press this drill mode on. It's going to take us to the next one. So here, just like how we did in Tableau, we can see this is the department century description. And so that shows the shoes, the ready to wear, juniors, men, and then we can go down to the next one. And then this is going to show the department decade. Um, so we did have a slight problem with the hierarchy level, however, we were able to fix it. Um, and yeah, that is it for lab 4-3. Thank you very much.